All right, what's good, y'all? Now, recently, Team USA they've been on a losing streak, but they've only played 2 games, so maybe they'll get it together. But they've lost to Team Nigeria and Team Australia. Me personally, the reason why they lost is because they don't play any defense. First game against Team Nigeria, they just leaving dudes wide open from three, wide open. Like I get Nigeria was hot, and they hit some contested shots, but you can't. If you know a team is hot, you just can't leave them wide open, man. Then last night against Australia, it, they just wasn't playing any defense again. Like going getting beat back door, oldest play in the book. They might have had 10 backdoor cuts. Team Australia did at least 10. Let me rephrase that. And they were just getting easy points that way. Then there's a chemistry issue. It looks like because they haven't played together, and that's expected. Then they got too many of the same type of player to where you got Damian Lillard at point guard. You know, he wants to score. Zach LaVine wants to score. Bradley Beal wants to score. You got your best scorer in KD. And definitely Jason Tatum want to score. But they don't really have a facilitator like that or a big man. I mean, you got Draymond, but Draymond's 6'6", maybe 6'7", maybe. But that's about it. Bam's 6'9", Kevin Love 6'10". So they don't really have any true big men either. But anyways, let's get into the video.
The rest of these guys on that team, particularly the stars, but especially KD, even though he is a champion, a two-time champion and the two-time NBA Finals MVP, they're going to have to wake up and recognize the fact that you can end up being severely tarnished if this continues. Now, we
I don't know about them personally, but I'm assuming he's talking about as a team. Yeah, they'll be tarnished because everyone else is going to compare them to what you got the team with LeBron and Kobe, D Wade, of course the Dream Team. That's obvious. Bunch of really good Team USA teams, and you got this one that's mediocre so far.
all look at USA basketball, Team USA, Molly and Max, and we recognize something that has changed. Back in the day in international play, the USA was a juggernaut and they made you play their way. They were led by the stars, which is the point Max was making to his credit. Now, instead of forcing the Europeans to play their way, the Europeans have forced Team USA to play their way.
I mean, I get what Stephen A. is saying. Australia, you got Australians and you got Nigerians. They're not European, man. But I get what he's trying to say. The people overseas are catching up, essentially.
That's why you got a roster filled with a bunch of shooters and no big, true big man presence. Your definition of a big man is Draymond Green and Bam Adebayo and Kevin Love. Okay? So understand they're forcing you to play their way now. And by playing their way, you're not looking too great at doing it. In the end, we're not going to dissect it that way. In the end, we're going to sit up there and say when LeBron was playing, they won. When D Wade was playing, they won. When Kobe was playing, they won. Even though Kevin Durant was on those teams too. But because he's clearly the leader of this team, and
I don't know about that. He's clearly the best player. Clearly the best player. But just because you're the best player doesn't mean you're the leader. It doesn't really work like that.
Damian Lillard is a superstar player. If
Heck no. Walmart Steph. Walmart Steph is not a superstar player. But in all seriousness, no, yeah. Damian Lillard, he's a step below of being a superstar. You got Kawhi, KD, LeBron, Steph, maybe Giannis if he wins the championship this year. Harden too, that are above him. And then he's right above like people like Bradley Beal and Zach LaVine. He's kind of in the middle. He's in that Kyrie Irving area. He's right there.
they continue to lose like this, you're going to look at them and you're going to say, what the hell happened?
Um, what's the problem with Team USA? It's the same problem in college when
Problem is defense.
you have the most talented team, but they're a bunch of one-and-dones. And they play a team of guys. Maybe none of them will be NBA stars, but some of them might be in NBA rotations. But they played together for 2-3 years. They're upperclassmen now. They've played together. They've committed to each other, to the team. And they have some talent. They have some, like, real NBA-ish talent. They can.
Yep. That's really a good comparison by Max. Kind of like how UCF, what year was that? It was like 2 years ago, I think. That's about 2 years ago. Whenever UCF was playing the Duke and Zion Williamson, RJ Barrett, Cam Reddish, they almost won. They really should have won. I think they kind of got robbed low key. But they almost won because they've been playing together longer.
Beat a more talented team that hasn't played together for very long, that's not as committed or invested. That's why the upperclassmen of like a mid-major, they can beat a one-and-done powerhouse sometimes. And that's what's happening right now. This is like a one-and-done powerhouse. And when the Team USA is constructed, when you have, let's say it was a team of Steph, Harden, Kawhi, LeBron, and KD in the starting five.
They're definitely going undefeated. Easy.
Then none of this stuff matters because at a certain point, you have so much talent, it's just not going to matter. Look at the Brooklyn Nets whenever they were almost healthy, right? But when you start to degrade that roster, and now it's not all MVP caliber players, it's MVP caliber players with all-stars and maybe some guys who are only sometimes all-stars. Now these guys have to be committed. The teams that Team USA are playing, Stephen A., by and large, have multiple players, a core of players who have multi-year commitments to their country's team, to their national team, who've played together for some time, and have a handful of guys who can make NBA rosters, who are on NBA rosters. Who was Durant blocked by last night? Thibault, clean block. He can do that.
Hey, bro. Max Kellerman ain't finna disrespect Matisse Thybulle, bro. For those out seen him play, this man is a lockdown defender. So don't be like, oh, Thybulle of all people blocked Kevin Durant. No, that's what he does. He is a lockdown defender. He plays defense. That's why he's on the 76ers.
The NBA too. So yesterday, when we started, we said, is this roster a problem? I thought it was. Then yesterday, we asked, after the first loss to Nigeria, is this a problem? I said, not yet. Now we see it as a problem. 2 losses in a row, we see it's a problem. They played better, but not well enough, consistently enough throughout the game. They're playing teams who want it more. This is the biggest stage they'll ever play on. Most of the team isn't hoping to win an NBA title one day, like most of Team USA is. They want it more. They're more committed. They play together. They've been playing together longer. Either Team USA really starts to want it and commit to each other, or we got to send even better players than we're sending.
So is it want or talent?
Well, really, Team USA, they're playing like that one AAU team to where they got all the superstars, and everyone just tries to play one-on-one. They just try to play one-on-one, try to ISO the whole game. Don't really have any plays. Just everyone just trying to get a bucket. That's how Team USA plays.
Well, it's not about talent. I think it's the wanting. And I think about it
it's about defensive strategy too. They got Coach Greg Popovich, the Spurs coach, and they still can't play defense. There's a problem. That is a problem.
Lost, I think it was in 2004. I mean, as Larry Brown was coaching the team and what have you, and I mean, that was not a good thing. What was happening there was not a good thing with Iverson and the crew and LeBron and them all on the younger that they were on the squad, and they did not win, and then they felt the need to elevate the level of urgency and get, Mike Krzyzewski up in there. Jerry Colangelo became managing director, and obviously you picked the star-studded roster. And they went and represented not 1, not 2, but 3 consecutive Olympics from 2008 to 2016. Now you've gone the way back to 2004. In other words, we're at the top of the heap. We don't need to have the, quote, creme de la creme in order to win the gold, which is something that I still maintain. See, I'm not talking. I'm assuming that you're incredibly committed.
I mean, you got 5 All-NBA players. I think that's what they said, 5 All-NBA. They should win it. But just because this team should win doesn't mean they are going to win.
I'm saying that from a talent perspective, there should be no issue. I'm looking at the talent on this squad. You should be playing better. You should be more.
Well, yeah, they all have talent, but they all play the same. They all want to score. You got Jason Tatum, Bradley Beal, Zach LaVine. They all pretty much play the same. I mean, of course, Bradley Beal can shoot better. They all have Zach LaVine has more bounce. Jason Tatum is better for mid range, but practically they play the same.
And right now, if Kevin Durant, who is clearly the face and the leader of this squad, is associated with a collapse in Olympic play, particularly coming off of what just happened to Brooklyn, as spectacular as he was, we all know that. Kyrie gets hurt. If Kyrie isn't hurt, I believe they're in the finals right now. All right, James Harden, same thing. But that doesn't negate the shrapnel of criticism that inevitably is going to come his way, because people out there are going to look at him as the leader, and this is what happened on your watch.
You know,
I have a question.
I mean, he can be looked at as the leader, but is he the leader? I don't know. Again, just because you're the best player doesn't necessarily mean you are the leader of a team. Doesn't really work that way. I mean, you can even compare it to when KD was on the Warriors. I say Steph was more of a leader than KD was. KD was just a weapon. A talented weapon. Yeah, he could score, yeah. But I wouldn't say he was a leader of the Warriors when he was on that team.
And one thing with something you said, Stephen A. When you say it's us not playing the European way, what do you mean by that?
Well, what happens is that the style
Overseas way. Stephen A. talked about Nigerians and Australians are European, bro.
of play itself. I mean, some of the rules that have been implemented, the fact that they built this roster the way that they have, you've got three-point shooters. You don't have a true bona fide big man in the middle, and that matters. If Joe, not that he's from America, but if Joel Embiid was on this roster or somebody like that, that would be different. Because you'd have a big man presence to throw the ball to in the middle or whatever. But by having this roster assembled the way that you did, you basically said there's a style of play that they implement here, overseas, and we think that's the way to go. And it's not working for you.
When you think of all the best big men in the league, other than AD, who's like a 4-5, Embiid, not an American player.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Right, he wouldn't be playing for
Jokic,
Team USA.
Not
Jokic,
an American player.
Freak,
no,
not American.
So is the sport becoming more?
Yeah, that's a good point by Max. That's a good point. Besides AD, I can't really think of anybody else off the top of my head, really. That's the top big man in the league. Shoot.
Global? Is that part?
Hold on, let me rewind this. Let me. She better not have said what I think she just said, bro.
So is the sport becoming more global?
No, Molly. No, it's not. No, it's not. Basketball, it only exists in America, Molly. It only exists in America. When Kobe was going to China, T-Mac was going to China. Hey, man, you got YouTube Devin Williams. He was going to China. Nah, he was not. Neither of them were making the game more global. No. Basketball only exists in America, man. Her specifically, she be asking some of the dumbest questions, man. I'm sorry. Basketball has always been global, especially since MJ. Come on, man.
It's part of the issue, and it's not that we're global.
What I will say, though, is that because of the internet and YouTube and all that, the people overseas, they're able to catch up because they're able to see the moves now. So they can see the moves. They can replicate it, do it how they want to do it.
Putting out a bad product?
No, not a bad product. It just goes without saying the rest of the world has caught up. That's why now it requires us, if you want to be assured of a gold, even if they haven't played together a long time, Steph, Harden, Kawhi, LeBron, KD would never not win every game. They're just not capable of not.
Barring injury, yep, I agree. They're smacking every single team, bro. Every single team. It's not close. It's not close.
Winning every game. But once you get any lower than the greatest team ever, you can lose. Because, think about it like this. Let's say you took an all-star team.
Yeah.
And not all starters, 3 starters and 2 reserves on an all-star team. And they played a team that didn't make the playoffs, but it's the middle of the season, and these guys haven't played together on the All-Star team even once, and the team that didn't make the playoffs has just played 40 games together. Right. Team that didn't make the playoffs might beat them. That's what's happening.
Yeah, and I agree with that. It's kind of like an AAU team that has all the best kids on the roster. Everyone's ranked. And then they play against a team that's been playing with each other since they were like 7, 8, 9 years old. And they're playing 17U or something like that. Yeah. The ones without all the superstars, they might win. Anyways, that's about it for this video. So peace.